Hello guys, how are we doing? As you guys know, Call of Duty has changed multiple hill positions within their hardpoint ranked play maps, and I've already covered Terminal and Subbase. If you want to check out the new spawns for those guys, feel free to check out the playlist down below. Today we're going to be looking at Karachi. Hill 1, 2 and 3 are pretty much the exact same, so make sure if you already know that down to a T, you can skip towards P4 and 5 to learn the new information. But I'm going to be covering 1, 2 and 3 again anyway, just in case you guys missed the first video. And yeah, if you're new to this, sort of series, I'm just going to give you a quick intro of what all these symbols mean. The rings are the potential spawn points, pink good spawns, blue bad spawns, and then the other two colors like yellow, teal or red are just generally alternative spawns. These shaded areas like you have up here towards the top side of the map are where you can block said spawn from. So the blue shaded area is where you can block the blue spawn from. There's also some like other shaded areas, but we'll get onto that later on in the video, but that's the general gist of it. And obviously we're looking at Karachi here, so just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on what the map is. The market's here, the bus is here, top third is here, red is here, so that's just gives you a bit of orientation on the map. So kicking off with P1, the two main spawns are blue and pink. Both spawns are pretty decent for P1, I'd say. There's no spawn better for P1, but pink definitely have the rotation advantage for P2, which is just this area over here. You can spawn low side of pink, which is over here, if the blue team are pushed towards P2. So if you end up spawning all the way over here, that tells you pretty much like the far side of the pink spawn over here. This tells you that the blue team have already started to rotate towards P2. Now, if the pink spawns are blocked, and then by blocking them, basically the blue team will have to run up and pretty much be in their spawn. The next spawn available for the pink team is P2 yellow. So realistically, that's fine doing that maybe for P1, but you want to avoid blocking the pink spawn if possible, because you literally don't want them spawning on P2. So if you're spawning blue side, try not to push this left side of the map as much as you can, unless you're going for a really sneaky full flank all the way around, and then you end up blocking this yellow, in which case you can catch anyone spawning in pink early on. Now, obviously, if you spawn yellow, that means the enemy is pushed up around your flank, or you've got squad spawns towards P2 because you have numbers there. So in short, if you spawn yellow and you've got people there, that's why you spawn there. If you spawn yellow and you've spawned there alone, it's because the enemy team is pushed up from blue and is blocking your pink spawns. Now, if you're pink and you push too far through red, so let's say you spawn in pink whilst P1's active and you push into red and you push into this general area up here, that will spawn the blue team market, which is obviously making it easy for them to flank towards P1, but it also gets them easy spawns in order to block pink as well as flank for P2 here. So just be very careful that if you do push the other side of red, it does spawn them all the way back over here. The ideal situation, realistically, you don't want to push here. You just sort of want to hold this red area, have them spawn in blue, and then as they're trying to run from blue to red, and then eventually to P2 here, you've just got the cut off for the rotation. Now, if you're blue team, the best thing to do in this hill is to get high, play alive, stop the enemy from getting onto P1. Just make it white, keep it contested, do what you need to do, while the rest of your team are rotating through red to get to the new spawn. As I say, through red is the best ideal situation, because what that does, if you push out this way, as I say, if any weight towards P2 is obtained from this blue team, it spawns the pink team all the way further out down to this bottom spawn here. Now, if you're on the pink side of things, you need to hold spawns whilst trying to contest this point. Again, you want to try and make sure that it's either contested, or if you get 4 down, obviously you can hop on it. But your main focus realistically is to make sure the blue team aren't getting points on this while maintaining the P2 spawns. Obviously, their life's a little easier as they're already spawning at P2, so they can put a little bit more emphasis on P1. Moving into P2, pink spawn remains good and the blue side is obviously bad. So the pink spawns I'd say are better because they spawn close to the hill and it's an easy opportunity to spawn enemies far out, which is what I'm going to get to shortly. Blue has a little bit more of a difficult route where they need to cross through the bus to get to the hill. Blue can be blocked by pushing into red. So if pink spawn want to spawn blue even further out, because realistically the two spawns you're going to have are just here, over the other side of the wall, and just the other side of red. So obviously, if you're pink side, you want to spawn blue out as far as possible, and in order to do so, all you have to do is push into red, in which case the blue default spawn then becomes teal. So they've got a little bit further route to run. But just be careful, if you do that, you've got a higher chance of being flanked because they've got a little bit more of a easy access to the mid cut just here. Now, if the pink spawn is blocked, the next available spawn for your team is yellow. So if you spawn yellow, that tells you that someone on the enemy team has put pressure towards this yellow car here or the wall jump up just here. This does, however, provide you with an opportunity to slide through the mid-map and pinch to anyone in red, or maybe even flip for the P3, which is just over here in this area with my cursor. Now, if you're trying to break from the blue side, you want to try and win your gunfights towards red and obtain red control, because you really don't want to ever spawn teal whilst P2 is active. You want to try and keep control of this red area and make the spawns really close to your team. Maybe take the ladder to top AC. If you do end up spawning teal, just run up to get the ladder to top AC, and as a result, if you're up here top AC, you'll be spawning the enemy team over in yellow. So that's probably the ideal setup for there. If you're on the pink team, looking at the other side of the coin here, and you're defending the hill, obviously you want to try and obtain red control at all costs, because that will spawn the enemy all the way out in teal. Now, if you're in teal and blue spawns are blocked and pink spawns are blocked, this will spawn you yellow. So if you are pushing from the yellow team and you push through early for P3 rotations, you're blocking blue spawn, you're blocking teal, but you also have a team member coming off red, or you're in this general, in one of the red and the pink areas, sorry, the enemy will then start spawning here, which is ideal. Now, a lot of the time that happens, if you manage to be a successful breakthrough P2 and you manage to push through the red building or the blue spawn successfully, chances are the enemy will end up spawning yellow. So just be very careful that once you get here, you push through market and you put slight, like instant emphasis on the fact that you may have gunfights taking down the street here. You just want to cut them off. You don't want to allow people spawning yellow to get too easy access to this broken bit at the top. Talking to P3, as again, the main spawns are blue and pink. For me, pink is the more beneficial spawn because you get easy access to height through top third and broken, and it's a little bit closer to P4, which is now on the street where my red cursor is. Now, if either pink or blue are blocked, the next spawn falls to teal. So let's say if pink are blocked, you'll spawn teal. If blue's blocked, you'll spawn teal. So if you find yourself that you have spawned teal and you used to be the pink team where you were spawning here, this tells you that an enemy has pushed up to top third or have spawned in the pink zone themselves. So if you spawn teal and you were spawning pink, it means an enemy has just, are blocking that pink spawn. On the flip side, if you are on the blue side, or if you were spawning in the blue zone and you end up spawning teal, this tells you that an enemy has probably just spawned blue. Or they're holding shacks and blocking blue spawn from this area over here. So just be very cautious if you spawn teal and you were spawning here. As you're pushing out, there may be someone who's just spawned there, ready for the kill. Now, there's also a yellow spawn in this hill, and that is utilized if all other spawns are blocked. So if you have someone who's just spawned at blue, and in pink, and blue teams start rotating to P4 through, so that as a result, they're blocking both of these spawns, the next available spawn will be yellow. So just be very careful that you will be spawning them close to P3, but that's not a terribly unideal situation for the next hill at P4. Now, if you spawn in blue side and you want to try and flip, you really want to, and you're fighting for P3, the best thing you want to do is try and flip. And the best way to do that is to take a route. So maybe hit mid, go up top AC, block the pink spawns as a result. That will then spawn the enemy team teal, any kills you get, and just be a little bit of a kill whore until you can get a decent amount of kills, and then you can jump on the hill, then push the hill as a team, whilst maintaining control of the top ridge and top third, because you really want this sort of area of the map for P4. So P4 is a fairly easy hill to read. The main spawns here, as always, are pink and blue. Pink being the better spawns for P4, as the routes are a little bit easier to take, plus it's a little bit more covered for the hill. Blue, you either have to take a route or run through bomb site, which is a fairly open area. So yeah, that's why it's not quite as advisable to have those blue spawns. Now, if the pink spawns are blocked, you will spawn yellow. So if you were spawning pink and you end up spawning yellow, that means that an enemy is pushed through P4 and they're blocking the pink spawn. Now, if the blue area is blocked, you will end up spawning teal, and your team will then push through, and you end up spawning teal. Sorry, yeah. This often happens if pink make an early route through to P5, which is near these shacks. So if you spawn teal and you haven't got anyone else sort of pushed up P4, generally that means someone has pushed through P5. Now, if you spawn teal and you do have people pushed up towards P4, like through P4, when I say towards P4, I mean the other side of P4 where they'd be blocking pink, that basically tells you that your reason you spawn there is because your teammates have got squad spawns towards this side of the map, and they're sort of, because they're blocking pink, they're anchoring you towards spawning at the market. Now, this is the good situation for most of P4, so you don't really, if you manage to obtain, like, if you were blue type, if you were spawning this side of the map on the right, and you did manage to obtain the pink block, that's a good thing because you're pretty much guaranteed a really close spawns for P4. However, that spawns the enemy yellow. So just be very careful. Which is obviously is a very good thing for P4, but you want to sort of take that back a little bit, when it gets to the start of P5 or the end of P4, because obviously these yellow spawns are super close to P5. So when it gets to maybe the 30, maybe 20-second left of the hill mark, pull back from P4 and start rotating towards P5 through back here. You don't want to take a route through red to P5. You will see why in a minute, but you really want to pull back towards the end of P4. You want to pull back through market, through broken, and back through P3 for the start of P5. Rather than pushing through spawns. You don't want these back spawns for P5, trust me. Now the best thing to do for blue initially is to have someone take a route with an aim to flank P4 and spawn pink out, which is sort of what I've said, while the rest of the team pushes front. Then maintain that position to spawn them yellow until the end of the hill. In that case, pull all the way back and rotate to P5 through mid back, which I've just said. Now, if you're on the pink team, you want to ensure someone is in control of watching the flank, because you don't want that person on blue be able to pinch and block these pink spawns, because again, you'll spawn in Narnia for P4. It's not the ideal setup. Then, when you have number advantage, you basically then want to try and play on all these headies, get some kills, and then when you have numbers advantage, hop on the hill. And then towards the end of P4, you want to push through this hill, through market, and rotate towards P5. Now, this is a very, very, very weird hill, and I'm going to get into why you want to push around market for these P5 spawns in a second. So, keep that in the back of your mind as I go through this. There's almost like two set of default spawns on this hill. So, realistically, if nothing is happening on the map, no one is anchoring certain spawns or blocking anything, the default spawn is pink, which is either this yellow alley here or in church or this bottom green area. Once pink is blocked, which can be done through many areas, if someone's in P2, if someone's in top red, or bottom red, sorry, if someone's even top second here or mid map, that will block pink, and the next available spawn opens up as blue. So if you spawn blue, this tells you that an enemy is pushed close side of P5, like this side of P5, and they're blocking all the pink spawns. Now, if both pink and blue are being blocked by one team, the other team will start to spawn in yellow, which is obviously the ideal spawn. That is one way you can get the yellow spawns. The other way you can get the yellow spawns, which is why I say that when at the end of P4 you want to rotate through to this spawn, is by getting squad spawns. If you have a teammate in the yellow area already, you're likely to spawn here. Now, if you have a teammate in the yellow area and an enemy is also there, the next spawn then becomes red. Now, as soon as yellow becomes the current hill for your team due to squad spawns, the enemy's logical spawn turns to teal at P2. So it's almost as soon as you have someone anchoring here, the default spawns turn to teal and yellow. So just be very aware that if you spawn in here, they're spawning P2. Now, in short, this is to simplify it in the best way possible. If you spawn yellow and you're alone, that means that enemy is blocking both pink and blue spawns, which means they've got a heavy emphasis towards this left half of the map. If you spawn yellow and you've already get squad there, you've done so because of squad spawns. There's no real matter. If you spawn then there's already people there, that's why you've done that. But just bear in mind that if you do spawn in this yellow area because of squad spawns, the enemy team will be spawning in teal. Now, if you spawn red and you do have teammates in yellow, that tells you that an enemy is also in the yellow area blocking its spawn. So just make that you can communicate to your team, like, look for a kill, there's someone lurking here, because I'm spawning market, there has to be someone in yellow. Now, if you end up finding yourself spawning teal, that tells you that the enemy team have managed to secure the squad spawns at the back of yellow here, so that's something you can communicate, and maybe potentially you can then send someone on a route through mid to block these yellow spawns and spawn them out towards the market. Now, the best thing you can do, as I said in P4, on the silt is rotate through the backside of yellow here to obtain the squad spawns from the off and play from there. I see so many teams from P4. Now, this is where it gets really mixed in. Often, when this occurs, you get people getting shot in the back. There's people spawning behind you. What I often see from P4, teammates don't decide to push this right-hand side of the map. They stay to, they push through red. And both teams are doing so. So P4 will push through up. The guys like that were spawning blue of the old hill, push through mid. They just want to get red spawns to maybe play the cuts. I'm not really sure. But then you also have the pink team also here. And what ends up happening is just they spawn pink on this hill. They then block this. And as they're running from pink, the enemy then spawns blue. And then you end up having people just shot in the back because no one's actually anchoring these back spawns. So that's why it's super, super important to anchor those spawns. So that just about does it. If you have any questions, if there's something I've gone over a little bit too quickly, or if you want the actual documents I'm looking at here, feel free to join my Discord. There's a Word document with a little bit of commentary as well for each of these images, so you can maybe share it with your friends, or share it with your squad for ranked play now that it's live. But yeah, I hope it makes sense. As I say, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it down in the comments below or contact me in the Discord. That'll do from me. Ciao for now.